by saying good morning to everyone. I appreciate you for joining us this morning. I am Rochelle Butler. I'm Rochelle Butler of the SJV CEO, and welcome to the Fund It Fast Chat. So we are with you a whole week early. We had to adjust our June schedule due to the California Climate and Energy Collaborative. Some of you folks may also know it as CEEC. Their 14th annual forum is next Tuesday and Wednesday. The SJV CEO team will be in attendance and participating at the forum. So that's the reason for the schedule adjustment for this month. Before we hop into the topic, I just want to remind everyone that your microphones have all been muted upon joining the call. We only do this to minimize background noise. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to pop those right into the chat box. You may do so at any point during the presentation or during the discussion, rather, I should say. We'll be sure that those questions are addressed before we wrap up this morning. So this morning's discussion is all about the California Energy Design Assistance Program, or CEDA for short, because we love acronyms. Just for reference, for those of you who may have a little bit more experience interfacing with EE programs, CEDA is the retooled Savings by Design program. Now, in the past, Savings by Design had been a very popular program. We are really happy to see its return. And to assist me with this discussion about CEDA, I have invited Jeff Glover. Jeff is the Program Outreach Director with Willdan. Myself and the team are very happy to have Jeff with us this morning. Welcome to the Fund It Fast Chats, Jeff.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Happy to be representing Willdan, but also, as we discussed, the CEDA program, or California Energy Design Assistance. So glad to be here.
Awesome. Very lucky to have you with us. So I'll just go ahead and jump right into the meat and potatoes of everything. Now, Jeff, the California Energy Design Assistance Program, it's been out on the market for about 1.5 years now. For those of us who may not have heard or may be unfamiliar with the program, can you tell us what CEDA is exactly?
Yeah, so as you mentioned previously, CEDA basically has replaced the old Savings by Design previous program. We launched CEDA in August of 2021, has gained incredible traction, a lot of popular. We've got approximately 280 projects in the queue, so it's gained popularity. But what exactly, what is the program? So basically, the program helps owners, design teams try to find that sweet spot of maximum sustainability and what the project budget will allow. So during the process, we're going to help evaluate measures with regards to decarbonization, electrification, but we're also we're going to give you credit or incentives for measures that are in the design, but also for what you'll be considering to maybe go above and beyond. So what kind of projects are eligible? Really, it's any type of projects other than single family homes or townhomes. So think commercial, public, industrial, agricultural, a whole host of different projects are eligible for the CEDA program. And if it's a multifamily project, it would simply need to be 4 stories or higher. And I should make mention the utilities who are behind the CEDA offering are PG&E, SoCal Edison, SoCal Gas, and San Diego Gas and Electric. So it really covers a wide range of projects in the California region.
Awesome. Thank you for that great overview, Jeff. So it sounds like the program, from what I'm gathering, it sounds like the program is focused on promoting energy efficiency in new construction projects, and also the word is escaping me, recommissioned projects or remodeled projects, if
Correct.
you will. Can you give us a little bit more of a deeper dive further into the program's objectives?
Yep, as you mentioned, various objectives of the program. We're trying to basically help the market, achieve California's very aggressive decarbonization goals. And in addition to that, we're trying to promote electrification and all electric buildings. We're trying to help the market to reduce those long-term energy costs and emissions, trying to help the market, review and adopt what we call high performance measures. Our team will walk, the project teams through what can be considered a high performance measure. We're trying to make buildings true grid resources, but then another objective, we're simply trying to educate the market of what's available. Again, with regards to high performance measures and what you can achieve by looking at electrification, going all electric, etc. So those are some of the program objectives that we have.
Awesome. So thank you for providing a little bit more detail around the program and what the offering is trying to achieve. So let's say hypothetically, I have a project and I'm considering CEDA as a solution for my project. Can you expand as to why I would want to participate in the CEDA program?
Yeah, great question. So basically, we want to reward you for what you're planning to do. However, in addition to that, we're going to help you evaluate various options that the team is considering with regards to energy usage. Our team will help you work towards the most efficient building with what your budget will allow. We'll review those costs, those paybacks, each energy efficiency measure to help guide you on the right financial decision. And in doing so, your project will receive incentives to help with those decarbonization efforts. So, the program it's complimentary. There's no cost. There's no contrast. We're trying to help you get to the most maximum sustainable project that you can achieve.
So that really sounds like a win-win for everyone participating.
Yep.
So let's say I have a project I'm involved with. How would I know if it's eligible for the program?
Yes, we basically take two types of projects. That is a ground up new construction project, but we also can accept existing buildings if it's going through a major alteration. Now, the key, the project still needs to be in design. The design phase, be it pre-design, schematic design, design development, or even early construction documents. We do stress that the earlier you enroll, the greater chance for increased savings and higher incentives. And also, the project would need to be served by one of those four utilities I mentioned earlier: PG&E, SoCal Edison, SoCal Gas, San Diego Gas and Electric. And the project would also need to be larger than 10,000 square feet. So if the project is in fact a major alteration, it would also just need to meet one additional criteria, be it a change in space function. Think, say, like an office to a hotel, or a library to a school, or a substantial change in the design occupancy or square feet per person, or an increase in the conditioned floor area, or basically any expansion or addition of a substantial process or conditioning load. So again, existing buildings just needs to meet the size requirement in design, but then one of the four criteria for existing projects.
Nice. Now, you mentioned something I'm keying in on is pretty important in terms of the program. You mentioned timing, or the projects need to be in the design phase, right? Can you elaborate a little bit further and kind of clarify as to when an individual should submit their project?
Yeah, that's a great point. I can't drive home that point enough here. With regards to timing, the earlier the better. If you have a project and you still don't have an architect or M&E on board, still get with us. Let's get it in the queue. The better your chances are of increased savings, increased incentives, the earlier we're involved. I will say If construction has started, uh, unfortunately, it would be too late to participate or be eligible for the incentives. Or if your project is more of a design build project, you simply need to make sure you enroll prior to any equipment being purchased. And again, I can't stress enough that the earlier you enroll, the more beneficial with regards to the annual savings we're going to help you achieve and those incentives.
Awesome. All right. So then let's go ahead and kind of recap then, if you will. For example, I have a project that's served by one of our four IOUs. It's PG&E, Gas Company, Edison, or SDG&E. It's
Yep.
in the design phase. It's a commercial project. It's larger than 10,000 square feet. I want to participate in the program. What's the next step in the process?
Perfect. Yep. So here's a process to our offering. Credit to the utilities, they've made this very easy and risk-free. The first step is really you simply provide us with some of the information about your project. Uh, to get started, we really only need a few pieces of information, such as square footage, address of the project, what type of building it is, construction document schedule, start and stop dates, just very minimal information. Once I have that information, what we'll do is we'll assign a project manager who will then set up a call with you and your team and basically have a discovery call or start to review your goals. And during this call, we can start looking at options for the team to consider. Once we conclude that first meeting, which takes about an hour, hour and a half long, it's not a huge time commitment. We'll then schedule a second meeting to go over kind of our results that we've come up with from the first meeting that we've gathered. Here we're going to show you, estimated savings, decarbonization reductions, and incentive amounts. So that occurs during this second meeting, which again is maybe an hour, hour and a half long. And then after that, after the team agrees to a path forward, construction will occur. Once construction is completed, we send somebody back to the building to see what was actually installed, and then report that back to the utility. We do all the required paperwork, submit that to the utility, and the utility then cuts a check for what was actually installed into the building. So in reality, the process from a design team and owner standpoint, it's basically three steps. It's that initial information you provide me. It's the second is the first discovery meeting, and the third is the results meeting. It's again very very easy process.
I like when things are easy. And it sounds like you guys have really kind of put things together where it's a super streamlined process and kind of easy to go. There's not a whole lot of in-depth thinking. So that sounds awesome. I have one more question though for you, Jeff. I'm pretty sure that's the question most of our local governments out there are wondering. What are you seeing out there in terms of incentives that are available?
That is might be the top question, and it's tough to answer because during that first call, that goal setting call, the review call, it's really it's what is currently in the design, but then we also it's a live charrette. We walk you through the process of various options to consider, and each option decided will have an effect to the overall incentive. The beauty of our software is, however, as you're making those decisions or choosing some of those options you'd like to see in the design, the software will actually update in real time what that does to the incentive. So unfortunately, it could be a wide range. If I had to put a number around it, I'm always hesitant to do so, but it could be on the very low end of, say, I don't know, 10 cents a square foot, but it could be all the way up to 60 cents a square foot or even beyond. Again, it all depends on what the team wants to consider, uh, what's already in the design. We're just trying to help pinpoint or again find that maximum sustainable building with what the budget will allow and what incentives we can offer. And also I should mention that there is actually incentive for the owner, and also we pay an incentive to the design team as well. So there's two separate incentives that we'll pay. And again, we're looking for some of those high performance measures: space heating systems, service water heating, plug loads, process loads, refrigerant systems. So we take a look at the entire building and try to maximize those incentives.
Awesome. That sounds great. So, I just want to kind of reiterate from what I'm hearing from you, Jeff. It sounds to me like one of the biggest benefits really is all of the design support that our partners can get through the program, and also the intangible benefits, right? Those that necessarily don't show up in the paperwork, but the benefits that partners will realize over the life of the project or the life of the building, if you will. Is that fair
true
to say?
Yeah, very true. In fact, we try to highlight that with what, because I hate to say, a lot of developers, owners, they do get fixated on the incentive amount. We try to highlight over the life of that building, here's what you're going to save on an annual basis, which adds up to a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of incentive funds compared to what the actual incentive is. Not only that, we try to highlight, the emissions as well. So just, it depends on what developer type you're dealing with. Each has their own goals and objectives. So we try to touch on all aspects of the project.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's what we have as far as specifically the program is concerned. What I do want to kind of pause here and give folks a chance to enter their questions. I do see some things popping up in the chat box. So I want to make sure that we have time to talk through some of those things. The first item that I'm seeing here is a comment from our friend Alice from City of Berkeley. Alice says, I love the idea of getting help with existing building renovation. I'm interested in partnering to get help with electrification on a 1960s building. The high amperage requirements are presenting some challenges. Do you have maybe some kind of preliminary thoughts on that, Jeff? Or
the program itself, it really doesn't provide, how do I describe this? Engineering from a equipment standpoint. We're simply trying to help reduce the demand. So we stay agnostic when it comes to recommending. Well, that's a great question. We can provide, we can help with guiding on electrification, but it's not full engineering. That might be something, Allison, I'll have to get you in touch with one of my technical leads on how we can help with that.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't expect you to have a precise response to that. It was kind of a broad question. And I think that kind of leads into her next question here. When you provide design assistance, does this include actual engineering design, such as mechanical or electrical plans?
It does not, but we collaborate with your electrical engineers and M&E or mechanical engineers. And we're collaborating with those specific firms. We don't do the drawings. We just provide consulting recommendations on certain types of equipment that they should consider.
Right. So I appreciate the input and your questions, Alice. What we can do, though, is kind of gather some information about your project and connect you with the CEDA design team so that you can kind of talk a little bit more in depth about, how the program will be able to assist you in that process. So it's not a problem. I'll make sure you have the resources that you need. All right. Well, it looks like we're right about at time. So I'm going to thank Jeff again. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. We have a lot of really exciting things coming your way as partners. So now this episode of the Funded Fast Chat, we just kind of scratched the surface. So on June 20th, we will be hosting a statewide webinar on the CEDA program. This will be our deep dive into the program offering. So please bring all of your questions and all of your project ideas with you. We're gonna really get down into the nuts and bolts of the program. We'll also have Jeff with us again for that. So be sure to mark your calendars. The other thing I did want to mention to everyone, last week, the SJV CEO launched our brand new podcast. So it's called the Pod EE. You can find it right now on Spotify. This is our very first episode of the Pod EE, and it takes a multi-viewpoint discussion on decarbonization and electrification. This was recorded during last year's SEEK Forum. So we hope you check it out. Don't worry if you didn't get all of this information written down. I know we're throwing a lot at you this morning, but we will be sending out our follow-up email after the call today. We usually get that out right around after lunchtime, so look out for it. In that email, we will include links to all of the resources that we discussed this morning, as well as how to get in touch with the CEDA team if you have follow-up questions, and also a link to the recording of this morning's discussion. So if you have any colleagues that maybe couldn't make it at this time, they're more than welcome to watch the recording. Now, I just want to wish everyone safe travels. I hope we see you at the SEEK conference next week. That again is Tuesday and Wednesday. And we hope to see you all there. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you once again, Jeff, for joining us. Until next time.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Rochelle.
Bye, everyone.